Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sonic Talk, episode 844. This is the penultimate episode before Superbooth, although we do actually have there is in fact another episode pre-record, which I've got ready to go for next Wednesday at 4 o'clock, which is an interview with Eric Drass, who's an interesting conceptual artist, I guess you'd call him, but uses generative AI in music and in other forms of art. And it's quite an interesting chat. So that'll be going live at 4 p.m. I guess while I'm in that, what's happening next week? Let's see. There's coming up. Still time to enter for the TurboTech hardware. We've got a Game Changer video, not Game Changer video coming up soon, which is the auto pedals and also the plasma voice. They came over a couple of weeks ago, so that'll be coming up on Friday. Erica Synth Echolocator. Matt's done a really good demo of that. That's going live at 5 o'clock today as a premiere, so you can watch that. In fact, just after that, you can watch Matt's got a video on his channel on 6, so you could be with us for hours today without having to move. What an amazing thought. And let me think. And then Superbooth is coming up in a couple of weeks, or next week, in fact, so we'll all be there, or many of us will be there. Before I introduce our guests, I'm just going to throw in our usual Patreon plug, so please do consider joining us. It's excellent. In fact, we had a great Superstar hangout on Sunday, very interesting chat about composition techniques and whatnot, and that's generally how it goes. So just take a listen. It's 2025 and our Patreon keeps getting better thanks to our supporters. Thank you so much. There's ad-free versions of much of what we post on YouTube, Sonic Talk pre-show, Sonic Lab extra videos, the ever-expanding Sonicstate archives, including classics like the top 20 greatest samplers. There's Patreon Discord, a monthly hangout, the excellent members map, impulse responses from classic and unusual reverbs, and a growing collection of patches and samples in decent sampler format, including some great Moog Muse samples. In fact, the music you're listening to now by Paulee was made using our sample sets, so why not consider supporting us and keep us doing what we do? Head over to patreon.com/Sonicstate. Indeed, and I keep listening to that and think I didn't speed my voice up like they do at the disclaimers, but it sounds like I have a bit. Maybe I was particularly excited that day. I guess that's the way it goes sometimes. Anyway, let's get on to our guests. We have actually one more thing before I do that. Do check out the latest MIDI Era Meets podcast that came out on, I think it was Monday, and it's let me see what it's called. I think he's called Joel Funken. So do check that out. Really interesting chat. So that's a periodic extra podcast that we run once in a while. And I suppose I should say hello to all of our chats as well. So I am delaying the inevitable here. I do apologise for holding you all up. Let's maybe get into saying hello to a few people. Let's start with Yoad Nevo. They're in Yoad's studio, where it's still winter where you are, I think, isn't it? You're very fortunate with the insulation. How you doing, Yoad?
Yeah. Not too bad. Good to be back. It's been a while. I don't remember how many weeks.
Yeah, it seems like it's been a little while.
Yeah.
It has, although we did do the excellent video, which was mix tips and preparing for a mix, which I hope you've been watching that. And also check out on Yoad's channel. He's got some great stuff on his own channel, which is coming thick and fast. You've got a really heavy release schedule.
Yeah, I'm doing one a week, and it's been going a lot better than I could even hope, and I'm getting really good reactions and comments, and so maybe I'm doing something right for a change.
I'd imagine. So does this mean you're taking a break? And are you going to? I can't remember whether you said you were going to be going to Superbooth or not. I think
no, I can't. I'm too busy. I really wanted to go, but I can't fit it within my schedule, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's a shame.
This year, I know.
Never mind.
There's so many people I want to see, but well.
Okay. Well. Next time. And we also got Paulee Bow, who's there in Birmingham. Oh, that looks nice. What's that up above your head? Is that a black issue Micro Freak?
Mini Freak.
Stellar
edition.
Oh,
it's got
nice.
rockets and space spaceships on it. Yeah.
That's a new backdrop. So how are you then, Paulie? Haven't seen you for a little while.
Indeed. So I've got one fun thing to say today, and one slightly more serious thing to say today. So I'll start with the fun thing.
Okay.
The what crap has Paulie bought this week?
Okay.
I bought 1999's worst sampler because it's amazing. This is the SU200 by Yamaha. It has 1 megabyte of RAM. It is 44.1. It is 44.1 kilohertz, but if you use that sampling mode, it goes monophonic and all the effects get turned off. So you have to use 22.05 kilohertz. But there's a really terrible time stretch on it, which is
terrible in a good
amazing.
way.
Yes. It sounds absolutely incredible. Glad. It just sounds like it's breaking.
Really?
Because modern time stretch algorithms try to at least smooth out the little chops and then stretch them. This does not try. So there we go. So that's my so expect a video at some point on this absolutely amazingly terrible, brilliant sampler. The other thing I wanted to say was, just for any of our audience that might happen to be transgender, the news that's come out recently is pretty ungrounding. Personally, I was quite affected, the Supreme Court stuff. I was quite affected by it, not because of any of the legal stuff, but I was worried that it would increase the amount of kind of people walking around who might take the law into their own hands and try and start fights and pick on us and something like that. So I just wanted to say, and I know there's at least 3 of you watching, that you're valued, you're good people, and we will get through this. So I just wanted to say that in case anyone is despairing like I am.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. No. Fair enough. Thank you very much. I feel it's difficult to say something flippant after that, but I'll do my best. Next up, we have Aneek. Who's there in his studio in London, Aneek from Void and Vista, which is very pertinent because obviously Void and Vista have a new release out today, which we'll be talking about, and you'll probably be able to give us some of the gen on that. So I guess you've been busy, right, with the Void and Vista stuff, or have you been doing other stuff as well?
Yeah, other stuff as well. Void and Vista, we released it last week, had a launch party on Friday, which was great. Thank you. A big shout out to the community that came down to celebrate with us. It was wonderful to see everyone and show you all our new thing. And yeah, straight back into work again this week. I'm mixing some stuff for J Chakravorty. I've done a couple of masters this week as well. And you can't see it, but in the cupboard behind me is all the boxes for all the Dolby Atmos stuff that's going to be going up here and over there on the sides.
Wow.
So I'll be going, I'm 5.1 in here as of 2022, I think. And now I'll be going 7.1.4. So that's exciting. And just quickly, Paulie, on the topic of time stretch, I think my favorite time stretch ever was Cubase SX, but I think it might have been SX2 because they fixed it on SX3 where they made it really smooth. And I loved that one in SX and SX2. It was just... I remember the first thing I ever did when I got Cubase on the computer at home, I played 2 guitar chords like bam, bam, and then just time stretched it for as long as it would go. Okay. Yes. And then that took 20 minutes. And then I was like, okay, that sounds great. Let's do it again. And then it took an hour. And then I was like, okay, cool, let's do it again. And then I went out to the park to hang out with my mates for a couple of hours. And I came back and I hit play and I was like, fuck, I am Sigur Rós. I am the brown Sigur Rós. This is amazing.
The brown Sigur Rós. I love it.
The hairy brown
we've got some great show titles already. That's brilliant.
There's too many to go for.
There was a great one in Cool Edit Pro as well, apparently. Charlie Klauser was on a couple of months ago saying that he used the really terrible one in Cool Edit Pro. So some of them sound so bad that they're effects in their own right,
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, they sound amazing.
Yes.
I guess you're probably always looking for decent time stretch and kind of algorithms, but have you got any firm favourites that just have the artifacts that speak to you?
I have.
You thought I was going somewhere else with that question?
No, I'm going somewhere else with this, because the best time stretch that I know and absolutely love is the one in Nexus. It's so good.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, it's so impressive.
It's so good. It's unbelievable. And I did, I did some guitar expansions for Nexus, and I did some guitar phrases and loops and things like that. And it just takes it. It's unbelievable. It's the best one by far. And Michael, I hope you're watching this. You did an amazing job. It's just Michael Hartman, the designer of Nexus. It's just unbelievable. It's so. I mean, good.
Most people license
that. Yeah.
Yeah, most people license that sort of time stretch, isn't it? Because the Synaptic did one. There was one that was used in Logic. Was it the Synaptic one initially?
Yes. Yes.
And so they tend to get licensed. They tend to get licensed.
There's a Z-Plane one. There's the Z-Plane ones everywhere. That's in like Ableton and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Most of them are pretty similar, but some are really good. For artifacts, the S1000 had a really interesting one.
Yes.
And it had two modes. One was cyclic, and one was intelligent. So intelligent is the one we know, where it detects the transients and it doesn't touch the transients, and it only works on the sustained parts.
Yes.
The cyclic is just basically duplicate and add without analyzing anything. So it's basically just looping, and it sounds horrible. Logic has that mode as well. And it's really, you can do a lot of weird stuff with it. The one I really like with Logic, it's called Speed. What it does is it doesn't time stretch at all, but it changes the sample rate. So it changes the speed. So it's not very usable for tonal instruments, but for drums, it's amazing, because if you have a drum groove, every hit has a different pitch, and it's if it's extreme, like if you do kind of more than just quantizing or stuff like that, it's really good, and you can use it basically as a sort of half speed things and stuff like that. It's really good.
Interesting. I'm thinking that nowadays there's probably with the processing we've got. I mean, part of the problem was like, okay, the S1000 was all right, and the S900 used to do it as well, but the time it took to process it was just most of it. Whereas now it probably whipped through it on a modern computer. So I wonder if you could still get those algorithms and just sort of run them on high speed stuff. So I mean, it could almost, I'd imagine, some of these things could work in real time these days because of or near real time.
You can definitely get Cool Edit Pro working on Windows 11,
right?
If you want, and it
I was thinking more the algorithms. I was thinking more the algorithms. Just getting the algorithms.
You need a kind of a large look ahead, as large as, because especially when you work on the intelligent mode, which is what all modern time stretch engines do, where you have to look for the next transient, and you never know when it's going to come, if at all. So you have to have a large, a long look ahead time, which means latency, which means it will be real time in playback, but not for playing live.
Yeah, a friend of mine from Slate and Ash was describing to me the other day that if you wanted a real time stretch, you'd have to have essentially an infinite amount of RAM. Because it as soon as you play a note and stretch it, it has to stretch it forever, and then the next note comes in and it stretches that forever until you tell it no longer to do that. And I thought, wow, there there must be.
But aren't we getting into the physics of improbability when you're sort of stretching into the future?
Yeah.
Sort of, isn't that?
We are.
Do you think maybe audio is the key to time travel in a weird kind of way that we haven't quite figured out?
We have to mention pole stretch. So
yes,
with
of
pole
course.
stretch, you can
nothing to do with me.
Yeah, not Paulee stretch. That's a different one. Yeah, that's the yoga. That's the synth and yoga channel.
You can set it to like 1 million years or something like that. So you can set it to really, really slow. And so if you set it even slower, maybe it will go.
It will go forever
till the end of time, basically.
That's
and
an
then
interesting
it will
thought.
duplicate and add that.
Wow. Okay.
There was
that conversation.
Sugar Bytes, that plug-in company, Sugar Bytes. They had a.
Oh yeah.
I think it was called Arturia, and I'm pretty sure
Artillery.
that had like an instant time stretch thing, because it was like the whole idea was that you map different effects to your keyboard so that you push a key and it would do it. It's basically off the back of what Tim Exile was doing at the time, you know. And there was a time stretch thing on that was like, it's just immediate. So you play something and it just goes, and you could set the amount of time stretch of how garbled or smeared it was. And I used to love that thing. I'm just going to quickly check in on them, actually. I want them. They must still be going, because I think they put out a new.
Yeah, I think so. They did quite a lot of iOS stuff. They do some iOS. They were one of the first iOS sound processors, as well as from what I recall. I think.
Oh yeah,
I think I recall.
too. That was. Yeah, they brought that out not a million years ago.
Excellent. Well,
fantastic stuff. I used to love their stuff.
So I was going to go into the Void and Vista topic, which we'll postpone just shortly. I'm going to play this message first, because we've got a new message from iZotope, assuming, well, if you're on the podcast version, it might play a different ad, but that's the one I'm going to press the button for right now. Back in a bit.
Life without reverb is flat, dry, lacking depth, space, and life, until you dial it back in. Introducing Equinox, a premium immersive reverb for post and music production. Equinox combines legendary algorithmic reverb engines from Exponential Audio with cutting-edge iZotope technology, letting you quickly craft the depth that your projects need. With powerful and intuitive workflows and over 1,200 professional presets. Whether you're working in stereo, surround, or immersive formats, Equinox gives you the flexibility to add realistic space or take your reverb into new worlds with deep control and creative effects. Download a free trial or get it for yourself now at iZotope.com.
And we'd like to thank iZotope for sponsoring Sonic Talk. Now back to the show. Indeed. I've never heard Equinox spelt pronounced Equinox. It must be a new thing. I wonder why they stopped there. They could have gone Equinox. I mean, it's, you know, but anyway, it's Equinox. It sounds really good. It does sound really good. So I guess we're straight into. So now it's time. Now it's time for the topic. And one of the reasons Aneek's here, apart from just being an all-round good guest, is because Void of Vista Frames is out, and it seems to be causing a bit of a stir. I'm just going to press the button. We'll have a little intro video, and then we'll come back. Right, that's enough of that. I must admit, when I saw that first video of the shot of the guitar, I was thinking, God, that's someone with an incredibly fast finger. And then I was pleased to see it was mechanical, because I wasn't thought. So yeah, Void and Vista. I'm sorry about that. The "and" in the Void and Vista broke it escaped the text in my link posting system. So thanks, Maggie, for updating that. It's last in the Origin series, 129 quid at the moment, 20% off, 16 gigs of sound, 300 snapshots, 40 sound sources. And it looks like the sound source is kind of hitting and vibrating things rather than the last one was more sort of vocal stuff. So perhaps you can tell us a bit about it, because obviously we have one of the developers with us. Aneek.
Well, developers a stretch for me. Matt is is the genius behind all the contact scripting and stuff. And yeah, well, this one was basically, you know, our favorite kind of sounds are the ones that have lots of texture and movement and kind of, they're very unique, and you've got lots of character, especially when you start pitching things down, you know. So we wanted to capture all that stuff and really use that as our kind of sound sources, coupled with some updates in the engine from Matt that allow us to really expand on what those sounds can do. And, you know, for this one, we recorded everything at 96K with a special Sennheiser microphone to capture everything beyond the range of human hearing. And then with a new feature that Matt just, you know, managed to whip up somehow in his magical genius, allows us to really use all that stuff in just magical ways. You know, it's really just watching that trailer again, just, you know, really brought a smile to my face. It's just, you know, 3 years in, 3 products, and Tom just did an amazing job on that trailer with the music and the video and everything.
Lovely.
Yeah. It's
interesting. So
myself every now and then.
So, but now it's at the end.
Such wonderful people.
At the end, now you've the end of the series. Now, presumably, you've got to find something else to do, because that's now you've done Origin. There's got to be something else, which I'm sure you've got in the can. I don't expect you to tell me, but tell me there's something else on the go. Surely. Oh,
there's definitely things floating around in our crazy brains.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. It's interesting, isn't it? This sort of, I guess Spitfire started this sort of the concept of these sort of very specific and vibey sample libraries, particularly when incorporated with specific things you can do with the engine and create, you know, very specific stuff. It's quite an interesting concept. I only wish the only thing that there's an issue now for me is because I've only got a certain amount of space on my MacBook. I need to think about how much room I know I can install them separately, but then it means I've got to take something else out. But I guess for those who install, it's going to be fun. Sure. Paulie, you're going to grab hold of this. Maybe we could work out a discount for Sonictalk panelists. I don't know. Just a thought.
Mates rates. The thing with huge libraries, before I talk about this, sorry to put you in suspense, Aneek. I love it, by the way. I'm not going to slag it off. I've got a little SSD now that I just hang off my MacBook pretty much all the time with my libraries on. I think it's 1 terabyte, but I'm coming to the end of that first terabyte, so I might have to get an even bigger one at some point. But the tiny little, you know, plastic thing SSD, just so cheap nowadays.
Get NVMEs. I can give you a tip. NVMe M2 drives are you could get them in quite large formats now, and they come in, you could buy these really cheap, you could buy these extremely cheap little cases for them that just sort of snip together.
Okay, that looks about the same size as my little Samsung external SSD, so there we go. But yeah, this is great, isn't it? It's really, really good. The guitar abuse is some of my favorite stuff, you know, because it took me quite a long time to learn how to play guitar. I was already proficient on piano when I started learning guitar, but it took me quite a long time, and, you know, in the meantime, boredom got the best of me, so I was always, you know, scraping coins on it, or, you know, using a bow on it and stuff like that, but never got anything quite as beautiful sounding as that advert. So yeah, I think it's really, really cool, and I think definitely getting very high frequency texture sounds and then pitching them down is instant win, really, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
I really enjoyed the demo.
Yoad, I guess you make sample libraries yourself. I mean, although are your guitar ones more to do with sort of phrases and licks and sounds rather than maybe mangling quite so much? But I'm sure you must have a few little tricks up your sleeve. But this looks good.
It's great, and I love Void and Vista's products. I have the first two. And I use them, and they're really, really good. The sound quality is really nice. They're lush and kind of wide and dynamic, and there's a lot of movement. They're really fun to do stuff with, and it's very rewarding because you don't have to go through like millions of presets, and you just whatever you pick is very playable and very gratifying. So good stuff.
Excellent.
Well done, Aneek.
Excellent.
And,
Thank
and
you.
all your
Thank
team.
you very much.
Well, that's the.
Yeah, I'm very
very
lucky to have become friends with some absolutely incredibly talented people and geniuses, and I have to pinch myself every now and then.
Well, I mean, good luck with it. It's, I know the other ones have done really well, so I'm hopefully, because I think the thing is, it's almost like once you get an imprint and a label, it's a bit like having a specialized dance label, isn't it? People will just buy everything you do because they know it has a certain quality and it represents a certain thing, and it's usually sort of on point. So, I mean, that's part of the thing as well, is just setting up the brand and whatnot, So, yeah, good job on that. Not an easy thing to do. Okay, well, Superbooth. Yeah, I mean, why not? Let's go there. So, I mean, I know some of us are going, so I'm going to press. I actually played a little I made a little video this morning to run through the entire system to make sure that it all works. So I'll see if that part works. We'll just pray, and this will give you the list of
folks,
the link to the.
We're getting ready to go to Berlin, hence the mess. Mind you, it's often a mess here anyway. So what we wanted to do is just let you know that we're coming. We'll be there from Wednesday until Saturday night. If you see any of us, say hi. We'll be happy to say hello. We've got a whole load of stuff to film. We'll be running around like we usually do. There's actually going to be quite a lot there. But if there's anything that perhaps you think we may miss, or something particularly nifty that is maybe going under the radar, leave it in the comments below and we'll do our best to get it in case we haven't already got it covered. But
anyway, you can watch that. I posted that earlier. But so, yeah, Superbooth next week. It looks like from all the information that's been coming out from the organisers, it's a bumper year. There's going to be, more exhibitors, more stuff going on. I mean, we've got a full diary already. We know that there's going to be new products. Very much looking forward to it. As I checked the weather, a couple of days ago, it looked like it might be showery, but now it's looking like it's not going to be showery, which is awesome. I know, Aneek, you're going to Superbooth. I didn't realise you were, but so you'll be there. So we'll try and get you've not been before, have you? So we'll have to get your impression.
I've never been. Yeah, this is my first year of going to all these kind of like expos and stuff. I've always wanted to go. We met at NAMM for the first time earlier this year, and now at one point, all of us from Void and Vista will be at Superbooth. But we're all sort of doing there's a little bit of crossover, and then two are staying behind. But we'll all be there on the Thursday. So looking forward to seeing you. It's gonna be really good fun.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. I mean, I don't know what if anybody's looking forward to anything specific, because there's been lots of rumours. I think actually what's going to be interesting is I don't think there's anything new from the big ones, like Korg and Roland, maybe Yamaha. I don't think there's anything kind of big product launch announced, but I could be wrong there because they often will surprise. But at least that's what I've been told. So I don't know. Anything you're looking forward to, Paulie?
I've been watching the forums and the threads and stuff like that, but out of the stuff I've seen, there's been a lot of rumor, but not much, solid stuff. Is there going to be? I saw that there might be a new Bastel Castle. Castle 2 Waveboard, a pocket sample player with an inspiring engine that invites to long experimental jams. Yeah.
Oh.
Bastel Castle 2 Waveboard. I like anything with sampling, and it seems to have pitch sample modulation and those little what are they called? DuPont connections. to do like modular stuff. So
Oh, right.
anything Bastel makes, I absolutely love, because it's a bit weird and it's a bit quirky, and you know, they seem to really have a lot of fun designing just weird instruments. I think they're one of them that they have their fans who will buy anything, you know, that they produce, and they just go crazy, just, you know, making fun stuff. So that'll be good.
I'm just looking at a list we've got ourselves. Some other stuff. But I haven't heard anything from Bastel. Let's have a look. What can I say? I'm going to try and do some interviews with artists while we're there, while they're setting up, and do a little kind of rig rundown while they're setting up.
Nice.
What could be less annoying than trying to interview someone while they're setting up on a festival stage?
Concentrate all your jacks and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get
guy with a camera.
I'm trying to get Maiden, who is I've known her for a long time. She used to know her from NAMM days. She basically moved to Berlin and kind of invented herself as a major techno artist. Now has I think it's a residency. It's either Berghain or Tresor, one of the two. You know, so she'll be really interested to talk to. Haven't had a reply yet. She probably hasn't got up yet because she's from Berlin. So, and Surgeon's going to do something. I think Surgeon's planning on doing something.
Nice.
Yeah, so I want to get as many as possible, really, because that's sort of a bit more evergreen content, because we're just going to be piling videos out, and I know we do a lot, but I'd like to have some that we've got for a bit later on. Anything you've got your eyes on, Yard, or have you not been able to focus on that sort of
I haven't had time to look around and to look at all the forums and stuff, so I'm waiting for your lovely reports and videos so I can catch up on what's happening. Because, like I said, I can't make it this year.
Well, we'll hopefully be getting that stuff online. We've got a great team organised for that. Ben is going to do the edits. Last year, I think he did 103 videos in 3 days, which is
wow,
it's mind blowing. Yeah, they were all terrible. No, and did a good job as well. So we'll be doing that. In fact, I think. Battery Operated Orchestra are in the chat somewhere. I think they are. And Chris is going to be doing poster frames and some of the sort of back end stuff for us. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know, Aneek, have you got anything specific you're going to be making a beeline for?
Oh, mate, I'll give you one guess as to what I'm going there to check out.
Is it the Icelandic synth?
It's the Genki Katla, yeah. Any excuse to get my fingers on that again and just nudge them towards letting me make some presets. Because, I mean, it's like May, it's May now, right? And I met them in January. January at the Bootler thing. And
what's the name of it? I'm putting it in the list now. I've forgotten about that one.
Genki Katla, Katla, I think. And they've released a price of it.
Okay.
Which is more than I thought it would be, to be honest. But I think that's because they're trying to make it all analog.
Yes.
But still, a glorious thing. I've never had something sound instantly as good as that did.
Jack's got a good one here. Jack wants to see the. Let me see if I can put this. Yeah, is it this one? No, it's not that one. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, no, it is. It's this one. Sorry, I'm for some reason. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to press the button. It's supposed to. Yeah, there we go. Jack wants to see the beer prices. I'll see if we can do a special, because we'll generally do a bit. I have to say, the beer last year was terribly disappointing because
really
there was a change in the management of the venue, not the organizer. So the organizers sort of had to fit in with this new regime, and they they made them use the internal bars, and it was a bit like having a bar at a service station. It was Heineken. I mean, we're in Germany, for God's sake. So I'm hoping they'll have upped their game a bit. There was one bar that sold really nice beer, but they were all massively undermanned as well. It was. I found myself getting really unreasonably upset about not being able to have a nice beer at the end of a working day. So that's the only thing I will say. I think in the end, Simon Forsyth, who came and helped us out, he ended up just going out to the supermarket and buying cases of the stuff, and we kept it in the room. So we had something nice to drink. Sadly, he's not going to be there, so we're not going to be able to do that, because he had a van that made it possible. But yeah, Jack, I'll see if we could do that, and I think it's going to be sunny by the looks of it. So
well, you're lucky because you're staying at the Moxie, right? And that's a very, very interesting hotel chain. Their whole thing is that you don't check in at reception, you check in at the bar, and while you wait, they make you a signature cocktail. which is just fantastic.
Really?
So
Wow.
I think you'll have
That's
a
never
good
happened
choice
to
of
me
beer
before.
and drinks
I've
there.
been there 3 times.
Really?
I've never had that. Yeah.
You're joking. That's the whole thing, isn't it?
Not at this one. The checkout is definitely not at the bar. The bar is in the same physical space, but it's quite a long way
that
away from the
sucks.
checkout. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I thought the whole thing was to check in at the bar, and then you get a drink while you wait.
Unless
Yeah, it
they've
says here,
changed it.
check in at the bar, forget the front desk. Moxie instantly eases you into a playful stay with a cocktail to go along with your room.
You've been researching this, haven't you?
It was a recommendation, yeah. And then it showed up when we were looking where we were going to stay. And I got all excited.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't
well,
want a giant pink gorilla on their check-in?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that one there, but yeah, the reason we stay there, apart from the fact that it's a nice hotel, is because it's literally across the road from the entrance to the railway station, which takes you directly to the venue. Which, when you're commuting in Berlin, you want to be staying somewhere nice at night, but you don't want the hassle, because if you try and stay closer, there's that part of Berlin is not all that thrilling, whereas you come a bit further to the centre and it's a lot better. Many years of this, but there's going to be a bunch of people there. I'm hoping I'm going to do an interview. Hopefully Gregory's going to come along. He's staying at the same hotel, and I think we're going to do a chat, because he's not been, so maybe we'll do a first impressions, and I'll try and get some more artists lined up to do to interviews and stuff, but we'll just have to see about that, but we'll have to go for it. I think I should probably play another a message from our friends, and we'll be back shortly after this.
I know right away when it's good for me because it makes me write something.
Komplete 50, a do-it-all production bundle for endless sonic inspiration.
I did not know it could do that.
You have your low sounds, you have your mid sounds, you have your high sounds.
Create any sound imaginable.
All together, sounds nice and big.
Whatever sound your music needs, make it with Komplete 50.
And don't forget, actually, there's a sale on. Choose 5 expansions and save 75% over at nativeinstruments.com. So do check that out. Okay, what's next? I suppose. Well, we've got. I wanted to. Do we do this? I tell you what. Let's do Arturia V Collection, and we can have a quick mention for a couple of other things. So I think I've got a button for that too. Yep, it's that time of year. This time we get like a whopping 7 new instruments, which feels like one of the biggest upgrades I can remember. So for those of you who are kind of bought into this, it kind of feels like maybe the time of year to be doing it. I don't know what it comes with now. Yeah, we've got the pure lo-fi Jupiter 8000V, which is the JP8000, which is kind of an interesting one to mimic. Synthex V, Elka Synthex, SEM V. SEM seem to be all the rage as well, because we shouldn't forget that GeForce have got the TVS Pro out, which came out this week, and by all accounts sounds fantastic. But we'll get onto the Arturia stuff. I know. Do you use their stuff, Aneek? I think most people have V Collection, or at least some of their.
I've made preset packs for it back in the day, which basically means 5 to 10 years ago. And yeah, I really love their stuff. I was especially interested in when they put it all on a stage keyboard, which I thought was genius.
Yes, that's the Astrolab. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, really, really great sounding stuff. Great emulations. I did used to find that they took a minute to load sometimes, because I guess they're quite heavy. But yeah, always love the sound of them.
Yeah, actually that's a good point. I wonder if 11 is being upgraded, if Astrolab's being upgraded as well. I mean, it should be, but I guess 7 new instruments. I think the thing is with Astrolab, I don't know how much work has gone into it, because we haven't got one here anymore. But it was a very interesting approach. I mean, and I think you're right. You're thinking of it as a stage keyboard, because reviewing it as a synthesizer was sort of like, oh, you can't edit all of these things, but if you've got them on your computer, then you can. I know. Are you a V11 user? Yeah,
I have an older one, which Arturia kindly sent me a license for a few years back, and I do use it. and I hope they will send me a new one because
Send me another one.
I really like it. I wonder if I really want to get my hands on the CS80, which I believe is the V-Synth.
CS80V, yeah.
Yes. So that's, and I have pigments. I love pigments. I'm not sure what's included. It's really confusing. Is the 11 inclusive of all their products, or I'm not sure.
That's a good question. I think. Well, what I've got here, because some people have been saying, so €699 for the full thing and €199 upgrade. I think depending on where you are in the chain, you might get a different price. But yeah. Let me have a look.
They're such a great company, and of course I have the hardware, and I have my Frankensynth mini brute and a micro brute inside it. So instead of the keyboard of the mini brute, there's a micro brute which serves as an additional oscillator, although it's a full, it's a whole synth. And of course the Matrix brute, which I think is possibly the best monophonic synth, modern one. And I have, do you remember we did the video on the, what's it called? Beatstep Pro.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think it's still on Sonicstate, and I really recommend people to watch it because it's a very...
that's right. But that's the one where you dial in drum sounds and yeah, it makes it really... Yeah,
so basically, I'll just remind folks what it is. Basically, on each, I have 16 instances of EXS. Each one has 128, like 128 kicks, 128 snares, etc. So 16 of those, and each one is on a pad. And with the knobs, I can scroll, basically browse 128 kicks while it's playing, or either while the sequencer is playing or when I play live. So it's boom, 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 boom. Then you go to the snare and the same thing. So it's millions of sounds, and great machine. So yeah,
that's awesome. Really love that sounds wicked.
Arturia stuff. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it, Aneek.
They're an interesting company, though, because...
Yeah.
Sorry, please don't let me interrupt.
No, I'm thinking it, when I'm trying to remember when we did this. When did we do this video? Like probably 7-8 years ago, because I was in my old studio. So,
yeah, probably was.
Yeah,
go for it. Yeah, I wanted to make a virtual instrument that or an Ableton rack that sort of did that in the line, because we did it a long time ago. We did a God, I can't even remember what they were called, with Ben Divkid. He made us some brilliant freeze machines, and I wanted to do rhythm machines along the same line with the same principle of what you'd already done there, but we never got around to it. Sorry, Aneek, I interjected.
Oh, it's totally fine. I think Arturia is a really interesting company. You know, they're quite the monolith, because they've got a hardware line of, like, you know, audio interfaces and that sort of thing. They've got legitimate synthesizer division, you know, with the Paulee Brute and the Micro Freaks and all that kind of stuff. They've got the modular synth case thing. They've got the software, the V Collection, and all the effects that they make. Some of them are amazing. The Culture Vulture one, a friend of mine, Thomas Ridley, who lives in Bristol, makes really awesome music. He showed me that once, their sort of Culture Vulture emulation. Absolutely fantastic. But we don't view them as this monolith company. I don't think anyway. I think their sort of brand identity is a bit more kind of boutique in a way, I feel. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I don't.
No, I don't know.
When I think of them, I don't think of them as like this giant monolithic company that make all these different things and have these different divisions. I still see them as like this kind of small indie brand.
They're massive. Yeah, well, it's is that good marketing or bad marketing? I'm not sure. It's kind of an interesting. I was actually, while I'm on screen, I was just checking. It doesn't look like Pigments is included in this, so that's a separate thing, because this is the V Collection, and these are for all the sort of emulation,
vintage stuff, isn't it? Yeah. So what's in the new one then? What's in this new update?
the new. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, Paulie, you take over.
The things that interested me as a weirdo were the JP8000 emulation, the Roland Blue Dabba-Dee trance synth of the 90s. The JP8000.
Yeah,
it's a classic, isn't it? And
absolutely,
it's not just a classic. It's also pretty quirky as well in the way it does things, like not just Superstore, but Supersaw, and it's obviously got this feedback oscillator, which is really, really cool, makes sort of gnarly sounds, and they've kind of modeled it, which is interesting for me for two reasons. One, it's a digital emulation of a vintage digital synth, and I remember back in the early 2000s, when the first Arturia stuff came out, like the CS80V and the original kind of and the Native Instruments stuff like Pro 52 and Pro 53, people would argue blind on Harmony Central and Vintage Synth Explorer and all those early sites.
Harmony Central, wow.
Yeah, key synths and samplers, baby. They were arguing blind over, this is nothing like the original, and they haven't got this right, and they haven't got that right. And I went on
they'd probably
KVR.
be right, to be fair, at that time.
Yeah, well, I went on KVR, and people are still doing it on this. There were some people still saying this doesn't work properly. And the other interesting thing in this update is something called Lo-Fi, which I saw Robin.
That looks wicked. I just saw that. Yeah, that looks awesome.
He really liked it, and actually, I also kind of had a pang of envy because the presets, they have little preset art on little floppy disks, kind of labels and stuff like that, and I was thinking,
oh, nice.
I would have done something like that. So it's like a collection of textures and samples, and I was thinking, I really need to get off my arse and do my own, because I've literally got nearly all of the weirdest and wonderful digital synths ever released. There's a few I haven't got, and I just need to find the time to just make a sample library of all of them.
I don't know anyone that can help you with that. Sorry.
See, I was fishing there, Aneek. So you just got me a big one. So there we go. But yeah, it looks like a good update. And could I ask Nick, because I'm not in this ecosystem, is there like a small price to pay if you're a current user, or is there like an upgrade?
There's showing me an update price here. Yeah. And there's an intro version as well, which looks like just you get less stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's got quite a lot of stuff because it's got all the augmented stuff in there, which is sort of like instrument samples. Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah. I mean, it's an all-in-one kind of thing. Love it. And they've redone the SEM as well.
Does it have the Synclavier in it still?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Synclavier.
And they've got mini brute in it as well, which is quite interesting. But
that is pretty interesting.
Yeah, Mini Brute V. Well, I think
I might bite on this because I've wanted to check out that Synclavier V for a while and compare it to the iOS version, and so it's definitely it adds more kind of shall we say, it makes it more tantalizing. Yes.
Je ne sais quoi. Very good. If you missed that, Failed Music said Arturia started with a door in '99, and I do remember that. Wow. It was lightning. It had sort of lightning or something. I do remember that. It was along the same lines as Rebirth. Kind of, those environments that would have multiple different. I do remember, and then of course, but yeah, I think back in the day, it's fair to say that quite a lot of those emulations were pretty crummy. It was just down to sort of the UI. Now it's getting harder and harder to tell. And I would like to also put a shout out for the GeForce Software TVS Pro, which is out this week. Which was, I think there's an intro price on that, and their stuff, as we know, sounds great. It's sort of without question. There was something else. There's a bit more to. Oh yeah, there's the Oberheim 2 voice, which looks all right. I think there's a bit of changing the analog sounds with very small those little sort of micro knobs it sort of misses some of the, you lose some of the resolution because you haven't got I don't know how good it sounds compared. I think Starsky Carr did a video where he was pretty impressed with it. So and I remember Simon Forsyth lent his 2 Voice Pro here for a while, and I plugged it in and turned it on. I think he came down for the afternoon and said try it out, and it blew my mind because I really wasn't expecting.
Wow.
It's got such authority. I mean, the hardware, it's astonishing. So I'd imagine GeForce will probably try to get some of that going on. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that one in there because. Okay, let's do. I think we should do this one because I imagine companies like I don't know, say Void and Vista might find it quite interesting, this particular piece of news. This is the news that Splice have acquired Spitfire Audio, who have been, they started out as a fairly as a vibey kind of I guess label with a specific sign of thing. Apparently $50 million has been mooted around the place. They're going to be left to be run themselves independently, and Paul Thompson will continue as the creative director. I mean, very interesting that they're using sort of AI in this whole kind of, actually, if I go back to there, I might be able to just allow all as a reason, as it bets on IA music. I can't think of either Void and Vista or Spitfire Audio in any way associated with AI apart from maybe file naming or something. I just can't, because these are sort of handmade products. I couldn't really understand how that might have anything to do with it apart from a headline, apart from headline grabby stuff. But you starting to think about your future now, Aneek? That seems like that would be a great acquisition. Imagine that. Only another 20 or 30 libraries to go, perhaps, before you get the call, perhaps. Who knows?
Oh, who knows? Who knows?
But it's an interesting one. I mean, I think people are very resistant to things they love and know, because a lot of people use the Spitfire stuff. I know it's interesting. There's been a lot of behind. I mean, these sort of big industry acquisitions tend to sort of, they shake things up and they make everything kind of different. But I still can't think what the AI aspect. Can you think how that would tie together? I mean, I know Splice use it in their categorization and meta tagging, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge library of content from which you can build models and use it as a data set. So there's a lot of content there. So that's probably one thing that is on the cards. Speaking of Splice, I'm, on one of my videos I did a video on de-esser. And I can't use any of my vocal tracks or vocal tracks that I get to mix because I didn't want it to get flagged by YouTube and things like that. So I found something on Splice, which is like raw vocals, which is also very hard to find because most of the stuff is highly processed and all that. So I managed to find like a raw vocal recording so I can demonstrate de-esser and how to use it in different ways and different de-essers. And then I got an email from YouTube saying that it's been flagged as a copyright infringement. Okay. And it's been because someone else has used that vocal sample and registered it as their own music. And they said that they're not going to do anything about it, but just letting me know. So I filed a dispute and said, listen, I downloaded the sample from Splice. I have a license for it. And it, what's the what? And they came back after a couple of weeks and said that they contacted the original owner or the copyright owner of this piece of music, and he said that he's not going to.
Wow!
And the thing is, you can't upload when you file a dispute. You can't upload a file.
You can't replace
you can't upload like a screenshot or anything like that shows that I have a license to use that sample. So this is really disappointing, and it makes me think, like, obviously if you use like a kick drum or single shot samples and stuff, you're not going to get flagged, but it makes me think about the whole thing. Do I really want to keep paying Splice and then
get busted?
Not be able to? Yes, exactly. So it's a risk for my channel. You know, I started a YouTube channel, and I don't want to get in trouble because 3 strikes and you're out. And you know, so it's very, very.
It's a really interesting thing because, I mean, ultimately, there's probably a case there if somebody could be bothered to go after the guy who's hanging on to that copyright, because he's not allowed to claim it as his own copyright because he's using it under license himself. So there needs to be like a meta. Yeah, there needs to be some sort of
not headache free.
Exactly, but there needs to be some sort of way of uploading. They need to upload their thing saying these are all the imprints of the things that we're doing under license. If anyone claims this stuff, you can't grant it. You know, you dispute them. So, I mean, that presumably, surely there's got to be a simple that would be a doddle for AI and, you know.
Yes, but why would they do that if they keep taking my money and everyone else's money without having to put all that effort into something that they're not going to benefit from financially? And Google certainly don't care, and they don't, you know, it's probably like a bot or something that kind of handled the dispute. And very, very disappointing. It's like makes me not want to use Splice, you know, and I'm going to use Loop Cloud and see if the same thing happens, which I'm pretty sure it will, but see how they handle it, or whether I can talk to anyone. Very disappointing.
Right. You need to lower. What you need to do is choose something that nobody else would want to use, and then you'll be all right.
But that's not
something
why
really
I pay,
bad. Yeah, I know.
How much I pay per month, you know. I pay to use it legally, and I have a license to use it. Yet I can't use it. So
that's a fair point.
It's not on.
And I don't think your case is an edge case either. I'm sure lots of people
absolutely not
that sort of issue.
Yeah.
This is the problem with automation, because the first person to claim it, you then have to. There should be due process, but of course there can't be due process because everything would take such a long time. Yeah, it's a weird one, that, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But anyway, I'm sure Spitfire are probably wondering what they're going to spend the money on. I guess. I mean, I suppose an exit strategy is always nice. I always want someone to come along and offer me 50 million quid for Sonic. That would be good, and then I can continue to run it in the haphazard fashion that I choose to. But maybe there's the key. That's the key, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Let's think. Well, I think we're probably getting to the end of the show. I think I'll probably leave it there, actually, to be honest, just because this will be the last show before Superbooth. As I said, next week we've got the Eric Drass thing, and then if you're going to stick around, at 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock now, you can go over and watch the Erica Synths Echolocator, and then after that you can watch Matt's video as well. I'm sure he'll be hanging out in the chat. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Are you... I guess you're going to be busy. Are you tabbing into anything you can talk about, or have you got a moment to make a cup of tea or something?
Working on some stuff and some things. So both things and stuff.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Good. Things and stuff. Well, may it long continue. And do check out the content on Yoad's channel for the mixed tips. And also, we did a video with him on preparing for a mix, which is very good. So do check that out. Paulee, you'll be presumably watching the Superbooth material coming in, so from afar, if there's anything we should check out, do let us know.
I will do. Nick, you didn't come to me on Spitfire, so I couldn't use my elephant in the room gag. Never mind.
Okay.
But there's my elephant in the room.
Paulee, no, I'm so sorry about that. I thought I'd already done it. I beg your pardon.
All I was going to say was this could possibly be a new a new start for the company. You know, to distance themselves from past troubles, and I'll say no more.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of thing can happen in, you know, it can happen in mergers and acquisitions and things like that. You know, people can kind of reshape a company and reshape not only their purpose, but their kind of reputation, I guess.
Yeah.
So there we go. But yeah, I will be doing loads and loads of more articles. I have a couple of videos coming up on my own channel, which you can see all about on my own personal Patreon if you want to chuck $1 my way. And yeah, I will be looking through the Superbooth stuff, and usually my eyes and ears are glued to Gearspace at this time of year, because they seem to have people post stuff on there before anyone else, you know. So sometimes I'm like, so I'll send Nick an email. Oh, go and check these guys out, or something like that.
Yeah,
so
no, absolutely fine.
I will be having my eyes and ears.
Well, crowdsourcing.
If there's any good scoops.
Yeah. Crowdsourcing is always a good way to do it. If there's only one or two of you, you're not going to be as effective as if there's like 20 or 30, or just kind of keep an eye on things. Aneek, I guess you're heading over to Berlin and continuing to promote and do stuff for Void and Vista, I guess, and mixing in the meantime, right? When does your Atmos system go in? Before Superbooth or after?
No, definitely after. Yeah. Ongoing with like the Void and Vista stuff, and doing the rival consoles Dolby Atmos mixes. Another one came out last week, so it was like triple release last week, really.
Wow.
And what else? Yeah, got another album for Jade Chakravorty that I just started mixing. Done some masters as well. More of that. Yeah, busy. Just before summer, which is good. Anyone going to good festivals this year?
Not that I'm aware. Festivals are kind of I can't be bothered to lose the sleep.
My kids are still a bit little for that kind of thing, you know. So I'm hoping when they get a bit bigger and stuff.
What's the sweet spot for you guys then for taking kids to festivals? Because I've seen kids of all sort of ages.
Yeah, but I guess
once they can wipe their own asses, that's probably
8 or 9.
I think that is it exactly, Aneek. Once they can take care of their own sanitary things, problems in a tent, requirements, then you're good to go. But before that, you know, it's well,
there are quite a lot of family-friendly festivals, although by the very nature they all become sort of amalgamate and get bigger, because the beauty about those things for little kids is, you know, when they're very, very small, all you need to know is there's a gate all the way around and somebody on the gate, and somebody will come and find you. Whereas if it's a multi-field kind of huge thing, you'll be much less likely to let your kids run off into the woods, you know, whereas a very small affair, you will. Anyway, that's
it's not 80s parenting anymore.
That's the parenting podcast. That's for another one. But all right. Well, thank you everybody in the chat. Always nice to see you all. Give you another shot of the old IRC console look. Nice to see you see it back. I might stick with that. You never know. But we will see you all week after next, where we'll do a post Superbooth show. I think DivKid's going to come on, and we'll probably have a bunch of other people. See you all.